Once upon a time, in a distant kingdom, there lived a beautiful young princess named Snow White. Her skin was as white as snow, her lips as red as blood, and her hair as black as ebony. She was loved by everyone, but none more than her stepmother, the Queen. The Queen, who was incredibly vain, owned a magical mirror that could speak. Every day she would ask the mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And every day the mirror would answer, "You, my queen, are the fairest of them all." This satisfied the queen's ego, but as Snow White grew older, the mirror's answer began to change. One day, when Snow White was just a young woman, the queen asked the mirror the usual question, but this time the mirror replied, "You, my queen, are fair, it's true, but Snow White is 1,000 times more beautiful than you." Consumed with jealousy, the queen flew into a rage. She could not bear the thought of anyone surpassing her beauty, especially her own stepdaughter. So she ordered a huntsman to take Snow White into the forest and kill her. The huntsman, though a loyal servant, could not bring himself to harm the innocent princess. Instead, he set her free, telling her to flee far away into the forest where the queen could never find her. Snow White, frightened and alone, wandered deep into the forest until she came upon a tiny cottage. Inside, she found 7 small beds and a warm fire. The cottage belonged to 7 dwarfs who worked in the mines. They welcomed Snow White into their home and promised to protect her from harm. Meanwhile, the queen, believing Snow White to be dead, once again asked the magic mirror who was the fairest. The mirror, as always, answered truthfully, "Snow White, my queen, is still the fairest of them all." The queen was furious. She disguised herself as an old peddler woman and brewed a poison apple. When she arrived at the dwarf's cottage, she offered Snow White the apple. Snow White, unaware of the danger, took a bite and instantly fell into a deep, enchanted sleep. The dwarfs were devastated when they found her, and unable to wake her, they placed her in a glass coffin. Days turned into weeks, and Snow White lay motionless, still as the night. Word of her beauty spread far and wide, and one day a prince, who had fallen in love with Snow White from afar, came to see her. He kissed her gently, and miraculously, the curse was broken. Snow White awoke, and the prince, overjoyed, took her back to his castle. The two soon fell in love and were married in a grand ceremony. As for the evil queen, her jealousy and wickedness were her undoing. When she learned that Snow White was alive and had found happiness, she was so enraged that she fell ill and vanished, never to be seen again. And so Snow White and the prince lived happily ever after, and the kingdom rejoiced in their joy.